There is so much right versus wrong going on right now. You don't have the right belief. You are not the right skin color. You are doing sex with someone of the same gender. You're not male. These are all limiting beliefs, and they restrict every single person's human potential. They potentiate and create a space for violence, for prejudice, for hatred, and just continued polarization and discomfort. I'm Darren Steele with some thoughts on leading from human-heartedness, and I want to read something that I was reading last night from Pema Chodron in her book, Comfortable with Uncertainty. It's chapter 57 called See What Is. I'm just going to read the first paragraph. Holding on to beliefs limits our experience of life. That doesn't mean that beliefs or opinions or ideas are a problem. It's the stubborn attitude of having to have things be a particular way, grasping onto our beliefs and opinions that cause the problems. Using your belief system this way creates a situation in which you choose to be blind instead of being able to see, to be deaf instead of being able to hear, to be dead rather than alive, asleep rather than awake. Some very powerful teachings from a Buddhist monk. Using your belief systems this way creates a situation in which you choose to be blind. I've turned this, or rather not this present moment, but what I've said for quite some time is that ideological belief systems create a kind of chosen ignorance and arrogance. Strong words, but if you believe the line of singular thinking about one idea only, things are only this way, you are like a horse with blinders on, absolutely refusing to see what's on your left and what's on your right, refusing to see that there might be other possibilities, some gradients that might nibble away at what you believe to be so true. Now, I've known this for a long time, but quite a few years ago, when I was doing some coaching work, I was asked to look into why I believe what I believe, and to also consider what have we been taught to believe without question. And it really became my mission to understand the origins of my own beliefs, the origins of my own values, defining my own code of ethics, not as a static ideology, but as a fluid, changing, evolving code, because things do change. And as I acquire more information, as I meet more people, as I open up to greater possibilities, I'm going to realize I was wrong about certain things. I'm going to realize that there may be more gradients, more shades of gray. Because what's right and what's wrong is just an idea. There is no absolute right. There is no absolute wrong. It's just an idea that we have come up with in our minds. And if you are so rigidly, dictatorially set upon a singular idea, you limit your potential for growth. You limit your potential for who you will be friends with, who you will talk to, who you will accept, and what you will not tolerate. And that's not to say that there are things in life you shouldn't tolerate, especially if you believe someone is doing something that is infringing upon your freedoms to exist and have your own personal sovereignty, your freedom to move about and express who you are authentically. So I invite you to think about those questions, those statements about seeing what is. What is, how do I put this? What is on the other side of your belief? Because if we have a belief, let me use a visual here. So I'm going to take a book and I'm going to put it right in front of my face in front of the camera. A rigid belief is like this black journal completely covering my eyes from seeing the camera. I can't see the possibility of other options on the other side. It's that simple. And it's also a choice on the one hand. When people use the words, I have faith that this is right, they are making a choice to depend on the ignorance, the chosen ignorance of not looking at other possibilities. Not necessarily of what's right or what's wrong, but not looking at other gradients, other shades of gray, other possibilities. They're also restricting their human-heartedness because if they were fully compassionate, accepting, willing to connect with others, willing to interact, willing to try to understand, that's almost like coming out of a 90-minute yoga class that was very relaxing. You feel contented. You feel freed of stress and tension. You feel like you can almost let life in that moment and allow yourself to be without consciously worrying about what's happening next or where you're going or what you need to do or who you need to be or what you need to believe. So this is the thing with virtue ethics. This is the thing with right and wrong. There is no absolute. And it isn't moral relativism per se. It's about being open to understanding all of the sides. And sides really make it sound like there's only one side or another side, a right side or a left side. But all of the points of possibility. Think of it as a three-dimensional in-space idea. Ethics are points of possibility and consideration and conversation and observation for us to, and here's where I have to back up. If we are coming from a place of all people deserve dignity, deserve freedom, that equity is worth practicing for accommodation, specifically for those who need it, because otherwise they won't have the same kind of freedoms that maybe you will have or I will have, then this is a moot conversation and who the fuck cares? So what is it you're not seeing because you haven't questioned your core beliefs? What beliefs do you believe that you've never stopped to consider? Where did this belief come from? Why do I believe this to be true? Who taught it to me? How has it affected my thinking, my acting, and my behavior? So that would be my invitation for you today. What beliefs are limiting your ability to see the truth?